Hi, welcome to the Coach's Guide to Impostor Syndrome. I'm Tara Halliday, and this is a series of short videos describing all the various different kinds of imposter syndrome behaviours so that you as a coach can spot it in your client and help them out. Now, imposter syndrome is the secret feeling of being a fraud and the fear of being found out. One of the behaviours that is characteristic of imposter syndrome is lying. Now this is where it gets really interesting, because it's easy to start judging. The lying that we're talking about is the covering up of mistakes. When somebody is feeling like an imposter, they're feeling like a fraud, they're desperately afraid that someone's going to find out. And how are they going to find out? Because they've made a mistake. So the fear in imposter syndrome is that they're not good enough and that their mistakes will prove that. So with their perfectionism, they'll work really, really hard not to make mistakes. And in fact, even though we're talking about lying as behavior, studies have shown that people with imposter syndrome tend to be more conscientious than most. So we're not talking about any moral flaws in their character or anything like that, and certainly nothing deliberate. In fact, part of the anxiety in lying as part of the imposter syndrome behavior is the anxiety that I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this, but I feel like I have no choice. So it's a fear-driven behavior, and the covering up can be pretty much anything. It can go from very, very small minor things to very, very large incidents that cause an awful lot of problem. You can see where corporate errors come from with imposter syndrome and the lying to cover up. What happens is imposter syndrome is that the person who has this has a fear that their mistakes will be found out. And when their mistakes are found out, then it will be disaster. They will have to leave. It'll be humiliated. It's the end of their career. It's the end of their world. It feels like a big drama like that. So rather than saying early on, hey, I made this mistake, look, I got this wrong, they would actually try and cover it up. And what happens when you cover things up is that, sometimes they may build, sometimes they don't. But what happens with imposter syndrome is that also they hang on to that mistake. They kind of worry it like a dog with a bone. They keep coming back to it, It's like the mistakes haunt them. And as they build, as all human beings do, we do make mistakes. But as the number of mistakes build, so their anxiety builds. And one client of mine had an absolute dread of coming to work in the morning, because he was convinced that somehow overnight somebody would have discovered one of his mistakes and he'd be publicly humiliated, put on the spot and fired and sent home. And that's an anxiety that comes up daily, every day. It's a feeling like any moment somebody's going to discover. And in imposter syndrome, the magnitude of mistake really doesn't make any difference. It's any mistake at all. And then when they have this fear-driven behavior of covering up their mistakes, it just adds to that anxiety and adds to the fear of being found out. Now, you as a coach, you're a neutral party, so you're way more likely to hear about the mistakes. So ask, what mistakes have you made? Have you made any mistakes in whatever area you're having a conversation about? When's the last time you made a mistake? Now, I have actually had clients say to me, oh, I never make mistakes. Now, they're not robots. In fact, sometimes a robot might make a programming error, that they will have made mistakes, and what they're doing and then is denying it. So they're denying it to you as well. So emphasize the confidential nature of your conversations, and the way that you can help them is also to not be judgmental. Understand that, you know, the last thing they want to be doing is lying and hiding and mistakes, covering up mistakes. It's the very last thing they want to do. They're feeling compelled to do it, driven by their anxiety and their fear of being found out and humiliated for that mistake. So if you've got any questions, any comments, please add them in the section below. I'll answer all questions, and we've got a couple more, so hang on, go to the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.